Welcome, everybody, to an NFL Show special edition today. We're looking at the top 15 hits in NFL history. Now, I'm sure these aren't the 15 greatest hits because there's not a lot of film from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even the 60s. But today we're going to look at the top 15 hits that I can find on YouTube. How about that? And we are going to go ahead. We're going to start off with number 15. Number 15 is Mo Lewis knocks out Drew Bledsoe. Now, this was not just about the hit. This is about what happened because of the hit. Remember, real quick, you can follow me at Grilling Truth on Twitter. But number 15, does this change anything in the history of football? Now, I would say there's probably a really good chance that it would have, but we'll never know. It did happen. And because of this, Tom Brady took over for Drew Bledsoe. And the rest, as they say, is history. All right, next up, we're going to go to number 14, which is Jack Lambert. Jack Lambert, one of the great linebackers of all time, and he was undersized. He weighed like 215, 218 pounds when he played. But, pound for pound, he hit as hard as anybody in the NFL. And we're going to show you that here as he is the former Steeler teammate from the Buffalo Bills. I think this game was either 1978 or 1980. And it'll show you exactly what Jack Lambert could do. And this is a play that, like most of these plays, would probably be a penalty nowadays. And I mean, that's the thing about most of these. The way the rules have changed, a lot of things are different nowadays. And we're going to show you this play. You're going to see what I mean. This would have been a play that would have been definitely flagged. And it's basically Joe Ferguson, who's in this a little bit later on, getting hit, throws a little pass to the running back. Jack Lambert just picks him up and body slams him. Like I said, if this happened today, they would probably fine him and suspend him for a game. But he wraps him up, slams him down, guaranteed penalty today. But back then, it was just a great play by Jack Lambert, who was a great football player. Now, number 13, we're going to go a little bit different. And we're going to go Damian McIntosh. Damian McIntosh was an offensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is a double pancake block that McIntosh made against the Miami Dolphins a few years back. And offensive linemen do not get the credit that they so often deserve. Nothing works without a good offensive line. You could ask the Cincinnati Bengals that, who with a good offensive line would have probably won the last two Super Bowls. But Damian McIntosh here, you'll see him. He's a right tackle. He fans out on this screen pass. Boom. Boom. Both guys are gone. You've got a touchdown. Now, the thing that worries me here is this is borderline ineligible downfield, but it is absolutely great effort, great technique. Great job by Damian McIntosh to tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, now we're going to move on, and we're going to go to number 12, which is Hines Ward. Now, Hines Ward is on this list twice. You don't see many wide receivers blocking being listed as, one of the top hits in NFL history. But Hines Ward was on a different level when it came to blocking as a wide receiver. I mean, he blocked like an offensive lineman. He was violent. And most of his blocks nowadays would be blindside crackback blocks. They'd be a 15-yard penalty and probably a fine. This is 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Things were a lot different. And on this play, it's not so much the block he or the hit. It's a great hit. It's probably a penalty because it's helmet-to-helmet contact. But the hit is made on Ed Reed. And you can see the end result where they're taking Ed Reed off. But right here, it looks like he's going to block 27. So I'm sure Ed Reed's looking for the ball. Boom, right there. Just takes him out. Great hit. Absolutely great hit. Of course, a penalty today because he used his head, but head into the shoulder. A great block by Hines Ward. And like I said, Hines Ward will be on here more. Just got to give it a little bit. Cincinnati Bengal fans will hate it because it basically took out a Cincinnati Bengal, Keith Rivers, for the rest of the season. And really, he was never the same after that. Next up, we're going to go Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis, one of the hardest hitting linebackers in 49er in NFL history. And on this hit, he will basically take out Brad Smith for the New York Jets. as we pull this up here. Brad Smith, the Jets receiver, will get tore up here. Boom. Once again, led with the head. Probably a penalty today. Not even probably. It's a penalty and a fine. And the bad thing here is the guy underneath the banks, which makes it so he's basically getting it from both ends. A great shot by Patrick Willis. A bad day to beat Brad Smith. All right, number 10, we got Willis McGahee. Brutal knockout hit by Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark, very good football player, not necessarily known for being a massive hitter, but he definitely wasn't too bad. And we're going to see the hit on Willis McGahee was probably the hit of Ryan Clark's career. And we're going to pull it up here. I got to find the video. It's the first time I've done a video like this. So I want to remind you while we are doing this that you can follow me at Grueling Truth on Twitter. And make sure you do. We will have also tonight at 9 o'clock live, which you can watch on replay if you don't, is the preview for the big game, or big fight between Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis this week. All right, let's go ahead. Let's pull this up. Willis McGahee getting knocked out by Ryan Clark. You'll see the end result here. Now let's show you how it happened. Now, this is the 2008 AFC Championship game. Joe Flacco back to pass, throws the ball. McGahee just gets destroyed by Clark. We'll see if this is a legal hit or not. See if this would fly today. Probably not, guys. Great hit. Willis McGahee fumbles the ball, basically sealed the Pittsburgh Steelers going to the Super Bowl. And eventually, I believe they won it that year, didn't they? 2008. I believe they beat the Cardinals. But we've got number 9. Now, this is our Super Bowl hit. And at Super Bowl 11, you had Jack Tatum. Jack Tatum was one of the biggest hitters in NFL history. Now, we did have the Darryl Stingley hit, which is not something that we want to show or even discuss because I think it was a dirty hit that basically ended Darryl Stingley's career. But we're talking about Super Bowl 11 against Sammy White. Sammy White was a great player for the Minnesota Vikings. This was the Vikings' 4th attempt at winning a Super Bowl. And Jack Tatum just lights him up here. And the thing about this one is I had a hard time finding this blown up where it was a good picture quality. So it's decent picture quality. But when we pull this up, Super Bowl 11, Jack Tatum, remember, this is a team that across from Jack Tatum, you had Dr. Death, Skip Thomas. So it was a very intimidating, to say the least, defense. And we're coming up. It'll be right after this play. Like I said, Super Bowl 11. Sammy White will catch the ball from Fran Tarkenton, and Jack Tatum just lights him up, takes his helmet off. One of the great hits in Super Bowl history. Maybe the greatest. I mean, that's devastating, guys. Went for the head would be a penalty today. Boom. So that was our number 9. Hitting the Super Bowls, better than just about anything. Now, we saw Joe Ferguson earlier, right? Joe Ferguson throws a pass. His Buffalo Bill guy or running back gets knocked out by Jack Lambert. But what we've got now is Joe Ferguson being the brunt of this. And that is basically, I believe it was Otis Wilson. And Otis Wilson or Wilbur Marshall. It was Wilbur Marshall. Wilbur Marshall just basically destroys him on this hit. And let's see if this is it or not. I'm actually watching it as I do it. But Wilbur Marshall, of course, a part of the great 1985 Chicago Bear defense. And they were known for being a team that just came out and hit you constantly. And most of those hits nowadays, of course, would not be legal. But back then, this was fair game. And Joe Ferguson, if you remember, was a very good quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. Took the Bills to the playoffs in 1980, 1981. So this is towards the end of his career. If anything could ever convince a man that it was time to hang it up, it would be this hit by Wilbur Marshall on Joe Ferguson, 1985 at the Pontiac Silverdome. You see Ferguson go back to pass, fakes a little handoff, a little play action. He starts to roll away from Fridge Perry. Boom, right there. Now, we'll have a replay on this. The replay will show it much better because the impact on this hit, you could see what it did to Ferguson there. It just completely wiped him out. It knocks him out of the game. And I think this is towards the end of a blowout. Most of the Bears games that year were blowouts. But you see, he sees the Fridge, he runs away from the Fridge, and the Fridge basically quits on the play. But he's chasing him in to Wilbur Marshall. Right there. Great hit, laid him out. The worst part there is probably the impact of hitting the ground after he got hit. That is our number 8 hit of all time in NFL history. Now, number 7, we're going to bring up Ray Lewis. Now, this is not normal Ray Lewis tackling a guy. This is something that if we were saying greatest hits of Ray Lewis's career, you would not think that it would be a block. But it definitely was a block. And it is a hellacious block on the Ravens' Chris McAllister's 107-yard field goal return. Now, this is the Denver Broncos. We're down 24-3. It was the last play of the first half. They were trying a desperation field goal. They line up for that field goal, and things go real wrong, real fast for the entire Denver Bronco team. All right, we got Jason Elam, who was known to be a long kicker, but 57 yards here is probably pushing it. But it's 24-3. I don't know why you just wouldn't throw a Hail Mary, try to get a touchdown. But this kick goes wide left, very short. Chris McAllister takes off with the kick. And you will not see the block here. You'll see the block on the replay. But this is still a great return by McAllister. Great blocking by the Ravens. And the Denver Broncos were totally unprepared to defend basically a kick or a punt return on this play after the field goal. And you can see Ray Lewis celebrating here. If you're watching the game on TV, you'd think he's just happy because they scored a touchdown. But that was not the case. This is what happened. You can see Ray Lewis there. And you will see Ray Lewis peel back here in a second. And Ray Lewis just destroys the Denver Bronco defender. It's coming up right here. Look at Ray telling him where to run so he can light this dude up. Boom! Right there. Great hit by Ray Lewis. And like I said, one of the greatest hits of his career. And it's basically on a kick return, a special teams play. So Ray Lewis, in that hit against the Denver Broncos, sits at number 8. Or number 7. So we're getting towards the top of our list. And I want to remind everybody, make sure you check out BetMGM for the best site for betting on any football you want to bet on. BetMGM is the place to do it. You can click on the link in the description below on this video to do that. All right, we are up to Hines Ward. And Hines Ward was known to be a little bit, I don't know, what's the right word? I would say chippy, cheap, typical Steeler would be probably the first thing that I would say. And this is his hit on Keith Rivers. Now, Keith Rivers was a young linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals, and this is a rivalry, but you don't expect to see what we saw Hines Ward do to Keith Rivers on this play. Like I said, this is at the old Paul Brown Stadium. It's now called Paycor Stadium, and Hines Ward lines him up in this play, breaks Keith Rivers' jaw, basically ends his season. And Keith Rivers was never the same again. This is on the first drive of this game between the Bengals and Steelers. You'll see it coming up here in a minute. Right there, out of nowhere, comes Hines Ward and just decapitates Keith Rivers. Absolutely a great hit. Was it dirty? I mean, to me, it's a block, but I mean, he's going at the head. And that's something that would get you fined big time nowadays. You can see him lining him up for the kill shot. Rivers doesn't see him coming. Boom. Great block, great hit. I don't think there was a penalty called on the play. I don't know if he was fined or not, but he probably should have been because it was a little bit beyond the realm of what you expect to see. And that's one of the reasons basically the crackback block was taken out of the NFL. Now you see the dude just kind of raise his hands and stand in front of the guy because that's the way it is now. Now, number 5, this is interesting. Sean Taylor, one of the great safeties of NFL history. His life, of course, ended suddenly as he was basically murdered when he was 24 years old. But this is a Pro Bowl hit. And to me, it's not dirty. Today it would be dirty because nobody's allowed to hit anybody in the Pro Bowl, right? So that's the way it is. But here, it's not dirty because I mean they're playing football. And he lines the punter up who could make the tackle and just takes him apart. And it's a very intense block. It's something you never see at a Pro Bowl ever again. But the punter's running. He's trying to get the first down, so you got to hit him, right? Here comes Sean Taylor. Boom, right there. Just lights him up big time. I love that hit. And to me, that shouldn't even be. Sean Taylor completely destroys this guy. He's trying to keep him from getting a first down, whether he's a punter or not, lights him up. I mean, to me, that hit could be number 1 on the list. It's not, but it could easily be number 1 on the list. And the great thing to me is Sean Taylor took every football game he ever played in completely seriously. Now, number 4, you like Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, whatever you want to call him. Well, a lot of people got rubbed the wrong way by Chad Johnson. So watching Chad Johnson get lit up is absolutely hilarious to me, and I'm a Bengals fan because you know how much crap he talked during his entire career, and then to just watch him get lit up by Brian Russ is just amazing. I love this hit, and the thing that blows me away most about this, look at the score of this game. Because the score of this game at the time the video starts is 34-10 Cincinnati. It is 3rd and long, but there's only a little over 2 minutes left in the game. So you would think, why aren't you just running the ball, Marvin Lewis? But then you realize, hey, it's Marvin Lewis, and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing half the time. So right here, Brian Russell makes Chad Ochocinco pay for it. Just detonates him. I mean, this is the way you hit him. Boom. And to me, this may be a penalty today because his helmet flies off, but it looks like a shoulder into the stomach. He's trying to catch it. Maybe they'll say he's a defenseless receiver, but I mean, he lit him up. We got to watch this one in slow motion, right? Because I mean, this is it was a great hit. And like I said, once again, it's Chad trying to find his jaw and his head. Probably got a concussion from that. He's probably asking Marvin Lewis, why the hell are we doing this 34-10 with 2 minutes left? Boom. Just lays him out. Even if you like Chad Johnson, that's a great hit. I mean, absolutely spectacular to just watch him get rug up like that. All right, at number 3, we're going to go Darrell Reeves hit on Chris Henry. This is not the Chris Henry that used to play on the Bengals, but Darrell Reed. Let me pull this out. Darrell Reed was a hard-hitting player, and he made this hit for the Colts 2007. All right, we're going to pull it up right now. And this is a monster hit on Chris Henry. And like I said, not the former Bengal Chris Henry, completely different Chris Henry. And it's on a kickoff return. They always say nobody really wants to play on special teams, and that is why. That is completely why. Just watch this. Boom, right there. Boom. Great hit by Darrell Reed on Chris Henry. Just lights him up. Let's see if we get see if they show a replay of this. Because to me, I mean, this is how you go play special teams. You watch him coming down, goes through a couple guys, and that's a D lineman running like that. Boom. Damn. That had to hurt. Let's watch it. Oh, I mean, people don't realize if they haven't played at a high level of football, college or the NFL, just exactly how fast and strong these guys are, how big. I mean, that's a guy that weighs probably close to 300 pounds. That's a defensive lineman. All right, we're getting to the top 2. And we showed Joe Ferguson earlier. I referenced Joe Ferguson because now we're going to give you Eric Hipple. Eric Hipple, in his prime, was a Detroit Lion. Eric Hipple was no longer in his prime when he played in Tampa Bay because really nobody's in their prime when they get to Tampa Bay in the late 80s. You're there because you got no other place to go. Because, I mean, why would you go to Tampa Bay if you had someplace else to go? And we're going to show this. And this is just what I say he gets destroyed. Just trust me. He gets destroyed. And they're down close to the goal line. This is, I believe, 1985, right around Thanksgiving time. But you can watch Hipple. He does a little boot. He's going to run. Boom. Ooh. That's a hit. And to me, that's a hit that would probably be all right today. They may flag it because his helmet flew off. But, I mean, this is a perfect shot right there. Great hit. Absolutely great hit. Eric Hipple doesn't know where he's at after that happens. And that's going to bring us now to number one. Number one, Sheldon Brown is a guy that never really gets the credit for being one of the hardest hitters that you'll ever see in an NFL game. And Sheldon Brown is the number one hit on this. And this hit was against Reggie Bush. And this was, I think, right around 2007 or 8. Not real sure on the date. But, I mean, this is Philadelphia, Sheldon Brown against New Orleans. It's like this, maybe the second or third play of the game. And Reggie Bush probably didn't want to play too much more after this game because this is our number one hit in NFL history. You can watch. This will be Reggie Bush going out into the flat on his right-hand side. They throw in the ball, and boom. You can't do it any more perfect than that. I mean, he's going to catch the ball. Reggie Bush is a huge threat, so you know they're looking for that. And Sheldon Brown just tees him up here. Look at Reggie's looking for his guts right now because he just got knocked off. His brains might be in with that also. But if you watch this, this is a perfect hit. Brown just lines him up. Perfect. Shouldn't be a penalty, even if it was today. Shoulder pad, right in the stomach. That is absolutely textbook on the hit by Sheldon Brown. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed our top 15 greatest hits in NFL history today. Make sure you follow me at Grilling Truth. Make sure you check out BetMGM for betting on football. But for now, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grilling Truth, where the legends speak.